And we bought pretty much at the right price. And I think that's the key thing that oftentimes as a principal gets forgotten. People get kind of excited about something and they don't do the due diligence or they don't know the history. And they end up overpaying on the front end, which makes it very hard to make money on the long end. So we've been very lucky. We've been intermediaries for a couple of 100 acres up in Magnolia that turned into a development. And I think it's just a solid piece that has different dynamics around it as opposed to like stocks or digital currency or other forms of investment that you can do. Real estate, for me, has been a lot more stable, if you will, over time.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us. As always, go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can see this show, the visuals on our YouTube channel. That's stewart.com/radio. You can also see past shows right there at stewart.com/radio. And today on this edition, we have special guests, special information today. And actually with one of our guests, we're going to be doing something that we've never done before. And I don't think any other show has done before either, even though we've done things other remote locations. Today, we have an interview that's in the operating room. That's right, of the HCA Houston Healthcare Tomball Hospital with Dr. Brian Harkins, a very well-known surgeon and master of robotic surgery. We are in the operating room with him as we were there with the Da Vinci robotic surgical device. So we'll have an interview with Dr. Harkins, and we're going to find out his perspective on real estate and some ideas as far as what real estate investors think, and in particular, what Dr. Harkins thinks about real estate in the Tomball area. In addition, we've had many real estate brokers and agents on, and today we have the very known, award-winning, and successful Nimesh Patel. His company is the Nimesh Patel Group. Recently, his group has been awarded the highly coveted Diamond Club Award, given to only the top 1% of RE/MAX agents worldwide. Also, Nimesh was honored as RE/MAX Broker Owner of the Year statewide several times. Also, with Nimesh will be Chelsea Sullivan with the Nimesh Patel Group. We will learn from Chelsea about how the Nimesh Patel Group helps buyers and sellers and how they exceed expectations. But first, we're going to go to the operating room in the Tomball Hospital. Here we go. Here we are, Tomball, Texas, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. A very unique segment today. We're going to talk to Dr. Brian Harkins. He is a famous robotic surgeon and a great guy right here in Tomball, Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about what he does, but also real estate from a doctor's perspective. More importantly, from Dr. Brian Harkins' perspective. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Here we are. In fact, we're in the operating room in the Tomball Hospital. You must have some stroke here, huh?
We got special permission, and of course, we'll do a terminal clean after this.
There you go. They like you here. So let's tell people, we are in Tomball, Texas, and you have land not too far away, but let's tell people, first of all, what you do helping people as a general surgeon and a master of robotic surgery.
Well, that is my specialty in general surgery. I do robotics as a focus, and it's been a godsend to see the advancements in the technology and how much better we can do for patients. So I take care of all the organs inside the abdominal cavity, and we use the robot platform to do that, and we've seen great improvement in results. After 20 years of practicing here doing laparoscopy, I've seen outcome improvements over time.
And also, I guess along the way, as you drive to and fro the hospital, you see tomball growing in this area,
Crazy
growing
place.
in a crazy way. Isn't it something?
Yes, it is. In 1997, when I got here, it was I called it a sleepy little town right outside of Houston, and I lived down closer to Houston at the time. We fell in love with the area, and I looked for property out this way, and I ended up buying a little over 100 acres. It's actually technically in Magnolia, but it's right across the county line is why. It's closer to Tomball. And we started I got advice from the CEO back at the time who was here, and that was a very wise man who'd been here a long time. He kind of built this hospital, Mr. Sharper, Bob Sharper. And he told me that this was a growth area and that he thought was going to continue to be profitable. And I started buying real estate out in this area. So I've probably had 400 or 500 acres pass through my hands over time in the Tomball area.
And now you have about how many acres?
I personally have 100 acres in my, and then I have other commercial property as well.
So there you go. When you bought those 100 or so acres, you got a better price than today.
A whole lot better.
That's a great investment. So one of the things, on a personal note, you told me this before we got to talk. I like this idea as a parent. As a grandparent, you had a certain plan. Let's tell people about what you did. You didn't just buy 100 acres. Yeah, you're probably doing a little investing along the way, but you had a plan for your family, seeing this opportunity in land in this area, the Tomball, Magnolia area. Let's tell people what you did. I think it's great.
Sure. I wish I could say I was smart enough to see it from the very beginning, but it kind of grew on me. We bought property in that 100 acres with the idea that we were going to develop it, and we moved out there. We put our house out there kind of to spur the development. And when we did that, we fell in love with the place. We were out there all the time, and when we started doing a little bit of clearing to develop it, we felt just terrible and didn't want that to happen. So I worked with the gentleman, a friend who was helping develop it, and he allowed me to buy him out, and we kept the property. My son came back at one point from college and said, "Hey, can I build a house on the property, Dad?" And I was like, "Well, sure." And so
we got room.
We got room. So he did, and then I had my daughter came back and said the same thing, and then we realized that this was developing. So we actually structured it as a family limited partnership, and we have everybody has their homestead, but we put structure around it with covenants, so it's actually protected from that standpoint. It can't be broken up by divorce or any of those kinds of things. We have some structure that prevents that, and we have some rules and regs that we aren't worried about, things like businesses being started on the property, junkyards and things. So we've got beautiful property with 80-foot oak trees all over the place, and we all live out there now. The kids have their individual homesteads, and we just put a half-a-mile road in for everybody of asphalt so they can access their homes from not on a dirt road, and it's been just a godsend. We've got a bunch of grandkids, 9 grandkids, and they're on and off the property all the time. So it's been something that's been special.
You're getting to enjoy your family. Everybody enjoys each other in a super environment. Let's tell them about, you've added a recreational feature for the grandkids. That's pretty unique. Let's tell them about that.
One of many, but
how many grandkids you have?
I have 9. Yeah.
Ages from
6 months, 9 months range up to 10 years old. So one of the features that we did we did that for a wedding. 2 of my daughters have gotten married on the property, and when one of them got married, she wanted to invite children and everybody, and so to have something fun for them to do, we decided to build a zip line on the property. So we built a zip line out in the backyard, and it's probably around 300 feet, and has a 20-foot exit ramp, start-off ramp, and lands at about 6 feet down at the other end. And it's been a lot of fun. It was a blast at the party, and ever
kids
since
like
then,
it.
The kids loved it. They were just like, it was nonstop. And so ever since then, we still have some other things that we do out on the property. And we have trails galore. We have a little small orchard. We have a water park idea that's coming to fruition at some point when my son, he's working on that. And so we've got a lot of different things that are happening out there.
And I'm also picturing one of these kids going back after the party saying, "Hey, guess what we did?
Yeah.
Guess what they had on their property?" Well, one of the other things I'm thinking about, you talked about the amount of real estate that has gone through your hands. A lot of people invest in real estate, not just doctors, but I find that doctors, as they're in their practice, whatever it may be, in your case, you're a general surgeon right here in Tomball, but doctors seem to also have an eye on real estate. You mentioned commercial properties and things like that. tell us why you think real estate is such an important thing to have a part of your portfolio and your financial stockpile.
I think if you're in the right area traditionally, and if you use some pretty basic principles, that real estate can be very profitable for you over time. And I certainly have seen that. We bought land near the hospital. We had 30 acres at one point. We built an office complex on it now, and I've sold other pieces. We had over 100 and something acres at a different facility up towards Magnolia. We had another 10 acres in another area that was a corner on major roads. The key for all of that was that we bought, and I say we, I had some great advice from a long-standing real estate person here in town that I worked with, and we bought pretty much at the right price. And I think that's the key thing that oftentimes as a principle gets forgotten. People get kind of excited about something and they don't do the due diligence, or they don't know the history, and they end up overpaying on the front end, which makes it very hard to make money on the long end. So we've been very lucky. We've been intermediaries for a couple of 100 acres up in Magnolia that turned into a development, and I think it's just a solid piece that has different dynamics around it, as opposed to like stocks or digital currency or other forms of investment that you can do. Real estate, for me, has been a lot more stable, if you will, over time.
In fact, as you say, the things that are around the real estate investment, and as I mentioned, that doctors of all sorts seem to have an eye on real estate. Maybe it's because some of the things that you do to make you successful, being a surgeon and helping people, analyzing a situation, there's a problem, the analytics, then the precision, the execution. Hey, that kind of sounds, they all go hand in hand, you think?
It does, yes, indeed.
So a wise real estate investor you are. But when we think about real estate, you see what's going on in Houston, Texas. Certainly you see maybe more so out here in the Tomball area. But crystal ball, no one knows. What do you see? I mean, we're exploding in every direction, right? Where does it go? I mean, what can you picture 5-10 years from a real estate standpoint out in this area?
Yeah, so I think this move towards this northwest sector for sure is going to continue. There's also, of course, down in on the southwest side of town as well, has been an area that's growing rapidly. I see that as people are enjoying living out more and more, and certainly the people I'm around. I'm not one to move downtown. I know that's a different kind of person that likes that, and those are, to me, the more risky. Personally, I believe them to be the more risky real estate deals from an individual standpoint. Structure and companies can do that, but I have more concerns about those personally.
Well, as far as land goes, people are scooping up land, not just here in the Houston area, the greater Houston area, but I put my feelers out, even Wyoming. There is a reach to go to that rural areas to go and buy land of all sorts. And anyway, I mean, we see it all the time, all over.
Yeah, I can tell you, many of my colleagues have retired into the Midwest on acreage, and they just love it. And I do too. I love where I live. We're never moving from this area, and we intend to be there, until we die.
You're gonna enjoy that zip line while
yeah, that's right. I'm gonna go out on the zip line. That's right.
That is unbelievable. Well, let's tell people before we close this segment a little bit about. We're sitting in front. Again, go to the website stewart.com/radio. That takes you right to this show. Stewart.com/radio. You could see where we are in the operating room, which is rare in Tomball, Texas, with Dr. Brian Harkins. This machine, doctor, that we're sitting in front of comes from a real estate area in Sunnyvale, California, right? So
it does.
So the machine, speaking of high real estate, so anyway, but this machine made a pretty big trip from California to here in Tomball. This is one of several machines in this hospital, right?
3, correct.
And they are these are around the world, these machines.
They are all around the world. Yeah, it is the major player in the market for robotics, and they have the biggest market share, and they're all over the country.
And you're not just using this machine in Tomball, Texas, to help people, but you're also helping people learn about it all over the country. You have a very busy education professor type situation where you're out there talking about robotic surgery all over the country.
That's correct. I've done almost 1,000 events for Intuitive Surgical at this point across the country, doing dinner lectures, training events, and case observations where people come and watch me operate at this facility to start their learning process.
One quick word. You do a lot of things. Medicine in itself is a gigantic thing. You're a father, you're a grandfather, real estate investor as well. How do you keep your balance in terms of your energy level for the important work, especially when it comes to surgery? I mean, if you're building the zip line and you're off by a couple inches or a couple feet, no big deal. Well, okay.
To me, it is.
There you go. That answers the question then. So, but what I'm saying is, how do you keep your mind sharp, your energy level up to be so precise and to enjoy your life so much in this magnificent way?
I wish I knew the secret. I'd probably write a book if I did. I just enjoy life, and I enjoy the work that I do. This is not the kind of job you can do if you don't like it. You have to really want to take care of people, and I enjoy being outside. When I'm home, I'm outside for the most part. Trying to stay physical, trying to stay active. My secret, I guess, it would be that.
If you need a good surgeon, here he is, Dr. Brian Harkins. Doctor, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
And your website is?
drbrianharkins.com or tomballsurgery.com.
drbrianharkins.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's welcome Nimesh Patel. He is with the Nimesh Patel Group right here in Houston, Texas. Nimesh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you having.
Well, here we are. Your company is phenomenal. You, as an individual, a broker owner, you've been doing incredible work here for many years, winning awards. Just saw you up there at the Houston Business Journal, receiving the award. Dave, let's tell people about your company.
I appreciate you. Yeah, this is Remax Fine Properties is the brokerage. I do have my own individual team called the Nimesh Patel Group that you've alluded to, but Remax Fine Properties is just phenomenal. We have about 135 agents that I'm the broker owner for, and we're the number one Remax in Texas out of over 280 Remaxes. I'm very fortunate that I have a great culture of agents that really want to work hard, be professional, and also they want to service properly. And so because of them, I get all the accolades, but it's all about my agents at Remax Fine Properties.
It's been said many times, it takes teamwork to make the dream work, and without the right team, it could be a nightmare. So your machine is working, your team is working like a fine oiled machine consistently year after year.
Absolutely. In this business, you have people that are always jumping ship, and that's just the nature of our business, changing firms, changing areas, teams or brokerages. But I think we have a very consistent base that have some amazing amount of top producers at Remax Fine Properties. And they all like to, what I like to say is they call it cooperative competition. They like to compete with each other, but they also cooperate with each other by pushing each other along better and sharing ideas and seeing what's out there in the market and helping each other get higher. And then that also includes the staff, and I think you have Chelsea coming on a little bit later, but Chelsea runs the show. It's not me. I get all the accolades, but it's all about Chelsea. But it's all, again, like you said, it's all about the teamwork.
Let's tell people the reach of your team. You're located in Fort Bend County, but how far and what areas do you service? Is it by geography, or how does the team work?
Well, typically, you know that real estate is localized. You usually want to be the professional and the pro at the actual area that you're in. But our team, we have people all over the place. And when I say all over the place, we're talking about inside the loop, Tomball, Cypress, Pearland, Manville, Richmond, Rosenberg, Sugar Land, Missouri City. I mean, go on and on. We do so much stuff all around the city, but we've actually expanded even more over the past year and a half, where we're doing deals in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, College Station, Galveston. I, as a broker, am a member of all the different boards. So my agents that want to do deals out that way, they actually travel and go out there. So we cover everything. I don't think there's anything that we don't cover, including commercial, whether it's leasing, buying, renting, property management, et cetera, et cetera. We're a full service brokerage with full professionals at your disposal.
And when you talk about the word expansion, of course, the marketplace, Houston, Texas, the desirability for things that certainly in the center of the city, but it seems like every direction things are expanding in a crazy way as far as the Woodland, Sugarland, Rose, all those things. What are the trends that you're seeing, and why do you think people are moving out to some of the further out places, which someday are not going to be that far out?
I think part of it is affordability, right? Houston, we have an influx of people that are still moving here, not just as a great state of Texas, but also into Houston directly. And as the demand keeps going higher and higher with the amount of people moving here, prices are going up. And as prices keep going up, people need to move out farther and farther to find some certain affordability. But ultimately, a lot of these communities, what they're doing is they're creating a center within that area. So, you said it best. Woodlands, Sugarland, Katy. These are all places that we know. People have heard of them. But now we're starting to hear about Fulshire, Needville, Manville. These are
Waller.
areas Waller, yeah, and they're getting farther and farther out. But ultimately, we're also working from home more too. So as these communities are creating centers in their area, people are also still working from home. So they're finding that affordability and a better, bigger house, more space, all of that through the unfortunate COVID years. That's what they want, and so they are moving farther and out.
Well, we hear things are changing a little bit recently in the last few weeks in the real estate world. Give people an idea as you're running a brokerage in the fourth largest city. Some people say soon to be the third. What are some of the trends that you're seeing?
I think the number one trend we're seeing is that there was a market slowdown for the obvious reasons of interest rates going up. When people are 6 months ago contracting at 3.5% on an interest rate, now suddenly it's 5.5%. That changes their buying capacity, obviously. And not only that, but because of the demand that we do have, and when we did have less inventory, prices were going up. So not only did prices go up, interest rates went up. So the buying capacity has definitely changed for many buyers. Also, with what's going on with Wall Street, people are a little bit more
Thanks
cautious.
for reminding me.
I know. Hey, so what do we say? We put our money into real estate, not into Wall Street, right?
Good point.
With Wall Street, what's going on, I think people are just being a little bit more cautious. So instead of everybody jumping off the fence and buying, even though I still personally think they should, they're taking a step back and saying, okay, I lost a little money on Wall Street and the interest rates are higher. Let me take a step back right now. So we definitely see a slowdown. And then also inventory is starting to come back to the market. So a little bit more of a slowdown for these sellers.
So if I'm a buyer and I come to your company and work with someone on your team, is it going to be easier now than 2 months ago for me to buy a house?
I don't personally think that it's going to be easier. I think this is a sell job or a sales pitch for all real estate professionals. You need to use a professional no matter what. You don't need a part-time agent or anything like that because they're not understanding the whole market as a whole. But Houston, as you said, is one of the largest cities in America, not just population-wise, but the vast space that we have. So markets are localized even within Houston at certain areas that are still popping really high, multiple offers, one day on the market. And then certain areas they're sitting. So you definitely need to have a professional that understands every single aspect of the different areas of Houston. But you come to us and we're going to really understand what your wants and needs are. And then one of the big things that I think we talked about prior to the show was new construction. We're expanding so much with new construction that I think people can get what they want with new construction if they're willing to live in certain master plan communities or different areas.
We're talking with Nimesh Patel, leading the Nimesh Patel group right here in Houston, Texas. Well, Nimesh, let's talk about new construction as you bring that up, because again, in the various areas in Houston, the outer, especially the outer sections, we'll say even New Waverly. I was just up there recently. Mm-hmm. Builders are building like crazy, yeah. And a lot of those homes are not sold. Give us an idea in Fort Bend County if someone said, "Look, I'm tired of my old house from 1992." That's not that old, but it's
Houston standards. It's old.
Right. It's not that efficient. We're trying to keep up with the air conditioner these days. I want an energy efficient, brand new home. I come to you in Fort Bend County. What are the choices? How would you lead me to find a brand new home?
Well, first and foremost, we want to see what your buying capacity is, and depending on price point,
let's take 450 just as a
450
as a point.
Okay, 450. We're going to go look all around Sienna. It's a really nice master plan community that has quite a few different options. Johnson Development over there. Then we have Harvest Green. We have Veranda. These are all those are in Richmond. And then we have the one-offs, whether it's D.L. Horton or we have Lennar selling in certain areas, Saratoga Homes. I mean, there is so much new construction available just in Fort Bend County that you can't even keep up with it. And I'm talking about, at the very least, about 25 different builders from price ranges from the 300s all the way up to $1 million plus. So if you're in that 450 range, I'm going to take you to Sienna to see what kind of community you like there. If not, I'm going to take you out to Richmond, Rosenberg, depending on your commute, and see if you like some of the communities out there. But there's quite a bit to choose from that you can get your hands into.
And you said the word available. So there's actually homes available that someone could buy and move in at a relatively short period of time.
Absolutely. So basically what we talk about is inventory, readily available inventory. Because I know for a while there, the terminology was inventory just meant that the builder built the house and then it'll be ready in 6 or 7 months because they already chose everything. They consider that an inventory home as well. we actually have readily available move-in homes all over the city, and all over Fort Bend as well. And yeah, they can choose. They can definitely choose.
That's one of the things too. And correct me if I'm wrong. That's one of your distinctions as a company. Your help in the new home world. You're doing tremendous work, even receiving awards there too.
Absolutely. And, we have a once a month office meeting, and I try to bring in a different builder every single month, if not even more, because I have definitely classes in between. And I've been concentrating on new construction for over 10 years, like probably longer than that, even 15 years. And I want to bring that same thing back to all of my agents, because here's the thing. You look on MLS and you see what's available, and then that's it. You have 2 or 3 homes available in this area, or 2 or 3 homes available in that area. You go to new construction, you have a plethora of homes to choose from and different builders to choose from, and you're not competing with somebody else to get that house. You find a house on a resale, and especially in the market over the past 2 years, multiple offers, you're paying well over what the house is worth. So now suddenly you're sitting in a $500,000 house that's really worth $400,000, but all your neighbors paid $400,000 for it. So you're not selling the house anytime soon. You get a new construction, fine, it's a little bit more expensive, but all your neighbors are in there. So overall, comparative market analysis, you're in the same price point that you should be. And then not only that, but it's just these builders really want you to get into the house too. So you're not having an antagonistic relationship or an antagonistic view towards the other realtor or the seller. Hey, you're working with the builder, you're working with the salesperson, you're working with your realtor, all in the same goal of getting you into that house.
And as far as the product itself, I just love the windows are tighter, the seal is tighter, it smells kind of like that new car smell. Having something brand new like that in itself is a very nice thing for someone that's been especially an older home.
Agree with you 100%, but you also hit it on the nail, the efficiency. So if I'm paying $500 a month on my electric bill from a house from 1997 or 94 even, that's not that old, but I'm paying $400 or $500 for my electric bill. New construction, same house, I'm paying about $87, $90. And some of these builders actually put their money where their mouth is, and they actually tell you, hey, your bill will not go over $125 or $150.
Oh, wow.
And then they'll tell you over the next 2 years, we'll pay for it if it does.
And of all the things you could be doing, I've heard about you for years. Namesh Patel. You're doing tremendous work. You're famous.
The bearded broker.
The bearded broker. Of all the things you could be doing, why did you choose years ago to be in the real estate profession?
Oh, that's a loaded question. It's interesting, actually. I did it by accident. I used to live in California, and I worked for corporate. I worked for Charles Schwab and IBM and all of that. But when I came back, I missed my friends. I missed Texas. I missed the people. People say that, you can't really tell. You can. You can tell that Texas people are just friendlier. So I missed all of that. I came back down. I had a really good incentive to leave my job at Charles Schwab. And so I was like, okay, I have some money on me. Let me just hang out and.
And what city in California, by the way?
I was in San Francisco. Okay. So you can imagine making 6 figures there and still can't afford anything, So then I moved back here, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to work for corporate America. I didn't want to do corporate America again. Maybe a little bit of ignorance, but basically I said to myself, I'm going to be rich one day. What do rich people do? They put their money into real estate. Let me go get my license so when I do become rich, I can just do investments, right? Well, I went and got my license. Once I did, I'm like, hey, actually, I like doing what I'm doing here. And then turned into a realtor, turned into a broker, bought my firm, and that's the rest of it's history.
And here you are today doing tremendous work,
Thank
24/7, leading a tremendous team.
What else do I want people to know? I want people to know that yesterday was the right time to buy, to be completely honest with you. Yesterday was the right time to buy. We're not in a bubble. We're not in a bubble here in the Houston area whatsoever. I know you can listen to national news and watch national articles, but Houston is totally different. Our demand is still high. Yes, we have inventory again. Builders finally caught up to, building what they needed to build. But overall, we still have an inventory shortage, and we still have an influx of people coming here. So yesterday was a time to buy. If you don't know if you think the interest rates are too high, fine. Let's talk a little bit more, see what other products there are, such as ARMs, things like that are back. Get yourself into a house and then refinance later. You'll be glad, trust me.
And that's a good point, because as we do hear the news, it is different in other places. We still are a city and a state that people want to be in. Mm-hmm. The economics are good. So, yeah, it's a big deal. So be careful what you hear on the news. It doesn't necessarily apply, and make sure you go back to what you said earlier. Talk to a professional, a real estate professional like Nimesh Patel, to really know what's going on in the given area, and also to help you through whatever the challenges are in getting from your desires as far as a home or property. Speaking of people coming from other places, right quick, what are you seeing when you're seeing, let's just take the last 10 transactions in your company, whether they were yours or wherever, 10 transactions, how many of them, if any, were from another state?
I actually do the numbers like this all the time, so
You like
I have
numbers.
that number. I love numbers. I'm a numbers guy.
Okay, yeah.
Right now, we're at 35% of our buyers are out of state. 35% of our buyers are out of state. That's quite
Overall.
yeah, overall for from the beginning of the year to today, 35% are.
And besides California, where else are they coming from? Because we hear about California all the time.
We hear about the West Coast for sure, about California. The last couple of mine have actually come from Washington State, actually, and then we're getting a lot from Chicago. We're getting a lot from the main major cities too. So Chicago, Northeast for sure. They're all starting to leave New York, New Jersey, those areas, and come down this way. And why wouldn't they? Our political climate, our economic climate, our overall affordability.
No state income tax.
No state income. Oh, I love.
And there's only like 7 states. I keep track, and there's only about 7 that you can.
Yeah, and right now, I know that if you read any kind of news out there, you'll see that Florida and Texas are where everybody's moving to. But I still take Texas over Florida any day. You know?
There you go. Nimesh, let's tell people how they can reach you and your company.
Sure. Nimesh Patel. My email address is Nimesh, Nimesh, at remaxfine.com, REMAXFINE.com. Or you can try me on my personal cell, 832-567-9400. Again, 832-567-9400.
Nimesh, thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate you having me.
Let's welcome Chelsea Sullivan. She is with the Nimesh Patel Group. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, we're glad that you're here. In fact, it's always great. Let's tell people, first of all, your role in this team, and we'll also get an idea of the scope of the team in terms of how many people. So let's tell people what you do.
So I'm the office manager for Remax Fine Properties. So I manage, we have about 135 agents. So I do everything. I wear a lot of hats. I onboard. I do transaction management, and I make sure the agents get paid. And I love on the agents. I deal with retention of the agents and making sure that they have support.
Well, 2 big words right there: onboarding, bringing people on, making sure we keep the right people. And in the middle part that you mentioned, you covered it all there in just a few seconds. The middle part, as far as when someone is there helping them along the way, listening, advising, counseling, and the process of that. Always learning, all of us.
Oh,
so
yeah.
let's start from the beginning, from the onboarding process. There might even be someone listening that's an agent, might be looking for a new home. Let's tell people about the onboarding process. Let's say I come to you and say, I'm thinking about putting my license. I've been with a company for a couple of years. Let's take that scenario. And I've been with another company, but I'm thinking about changing companies. And I meet with you. What happens?
Well, first you would meet with me and Nimesh, and we would determine if it's even a good fit.
Might not be.
First, you got to fit the culture and you got to fit the values. But and so it's basically an interview two ways. And then we decide whether, are you able to go off and do this on your own, or do you need to be a part of a team? We address those concerns at that time as well. And then let's say we decide to move forward, then we would meet. And our onboarding process is very efficient. We can onboard you in about 20 minutes. And that includes getting your license transferred over, getting car transferred. Yeah, it's very quick. And then and we try to make it as painless as possible for anybody who's transferring, because we know change is never easy. So we try to take all the hard work away from that. And then once we get you going, we just continue to support you, do trainings through our transaction management system. We introduce you to the resources Remax offers, all of its associates. We just go from there.
And you mentioned another word, training. That's so important because in the real estate world, not just in Houston, but anywhere, things are changing all the time, not just the marketplace and that. But every once in a while, there's something new that the agent has to do, that the broker has to do. Every now and then, they're putting more paperwork in the process.
Absolutely. Paperwork is a thing. And so anytime there's changes with contracts or TREC has a change, we definitely hold trainings and make sure our agents are aware and that they're filling out contracts properly. And we just continue that all the time.
And I would think also, as you are talking to many people in this onboarding and meeting people outside of before they even get to the process, you might even see someone, then you might make the suggestion, hey, look, why don't you check us out? There might be something here. So that sort of thing. My point is that you're seeing people all the time. It's probably very interesting after your experience where you get a feel kind of right away, and maybe the other person does too. The difference in people and those things.
Oh, sure. I think Nimesh is very good at this, but I think we can tell right away if somebody's going to be successful or if they even should be in real estate. I think a lot of people get the idea that it's super easy, but it's complex market right now, and it's challenging. And I think a lot of agents are seeing that. And, a lot of agents that do part-time, it's very hard to make it doing part-time in real estate. I think you need to be fully focused and intentional when you're a real estate agent. And we also offer a lot of mentoring and coaching as well to our agents.
Well, there are a lot of demands on the agents, whether they're dealing with an individual that wants to buy property or a home or land, and also certainly a couple. Right there, there's so many human dynamics that take place.
Yeah, well, you're always dealing with different personalities, so it's definitely it's interesting, the people you get to meet in this business, for sure.
As far as retention and some of the other distinctions of your company, what do you find are the things that keep the agent happy? I mean, sure, they want to make a great living and all that, but what are some of the other things other than dollars and cents?
Oh, gosh, it's actually very simple. It's just loving on them. I think it's just congratulating them when they have a big closing. I think it's getting to know them personally and knowing about their families and about their lives. Because, at the end of the day, culture kind of sets us apart, but it's, to keep the culture like a family, we have to be involved in each other's lives. And I think they need to know that we do care about them as individuals. They're not just agents to us. I think that's really it. It's just loving on them.
And of all the things you could be doing, you found yourself somehow in the real estate profession.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about your story.
It wasn't really by accident. My mom has always been in real estate. She's worked for a commercial real estate company for as long as I can remember, and I think I kind of got interested in it that way. And then, I went to school, and my major was real estate finance and development at the time. And so I got to learn a little bit more, and I just became intrigued by it, all the aspects of real estate.
And I would think also in your role, and certainly a realtor, just right there's so many details that need to be tended to, but then multiply that by how many hundred people are at your company?
135.
All right, 135 people that you're in direct contact with, helping, as you said, wearing many hats. That's a lot of details right there. How do you keep that balance? How do you know which...
Well, it wasn't always as organized. It took a long time to get the process. Yeah. Well, and I it's one of the things I found out that the strength of mine is being organized, and I'm pretty detail oriented. But it didn't start that way. I think over the years I've just come up with processes that work and that keep us efficient. And I have a very small but awesome staff that helps me. We're just trying to grow, and so we've approached things a little bit differently in the past couple of years to cater to our agents. And now it's a change in the type of agent, I guess, that we're getting. We had an office that was just full of life and popping, and now it's like people have learned how to work from home, and I think we're kind of catering to that more than we did.
And that's another good word. You said the word grow. All companies want profitable growth, and in your company, Nimesh Patel Group, growth is on the order, and of course it's working year after year as your company receives the awards. And growth in your role is a very important role to be able to help the agents grow and that sort of thing, because then the company grows.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've made a very good team, Nimesh and I, and I think we got into a place where we're ready to start recruiting and go full force.
And Chelsea, let's tell people, you told me already how many years you've been on the Nimesh Patel.
11 years.
That's a lot. Huh?
That's a decade.
Over a decade of service. Before we close the segment, Chelsea, what else do you want people to know about the company or yourself?
Well, if you're looking to buy, sell, we would love to help you. And if you are an agent looking for a new home, I'd love to chat.
I want to go to the onboarding process myself just for the fun of it. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
281-265-5533. Or my email is office@remaxfine.com.
And Phone number again is
281-265-5533.
Chelsea Sullivan. Thanks, Chelsea, for being on the show.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Kevin.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
I say it all the time. Stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. He's here, one of our most dynamic business development officers to date, Kevin Davidson. Hey, Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Bill.
Here you are doing tremendous work. You brought Namesh on the team or on the show along with Chelsea. That's pretty awesome right there.
Yeah, I was, when they accepted, I was very happy with that.
That's right. We were at the table. We saw them get the award. We said, let's get them on the show.
Yeah, they were that was probably one reason why I went to that event was to see you guys.
Well, it's awesome. Let's do it again sometime. In the meantime, let's tell people the offices that you're serving for Stewart Title.
I am the title rep for the entire county of Fort Bend, which is the Sugar Land office off of 59 Dairy Ashford and the Richmond office in Old Richmond, from what I've been told, off of Thompson Road, which is also 762.
And you have so many activities going on, which is one of the reasons I say always stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer, because they're doing things like you, and you're doing a whole bunch of them. Let's give people an idea of some of the things you're doing.
With some of the traditional things, the happy hours and the dinners and things like that I do, I'm the only Stewart Title rep in at least the city of Houston that I know of that designs, creates, and teaches his own CE classes. So I offer education to real estate agents to help keep their license at the same time, help grow their business. In all my classes, I teach 8 classes, and they're all marketing related. So things like Facebook ads, creating your own marketing program, farming, why you should need a CRM, why you need a Google My Business page, how to create an effective ad. Those are all the things that I teach for, and they're all for CE credit.
And there you are, helping realtors in a tremendous way build their business far and wide.
Yes, and I have meetings with agents almost every day in my office. They come to me for me to help them with their marketing plan.
There you go, Kevin. Let's tell people how they can reach out to you. Also, you're very active on Facebook. I look forward to see at least 3 or 4 a day from you.
I tell everybody, I say, if you're not posting at least 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, then you're not doing it justice. So I can be reached at 832-654-0527, or you can email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com.
And if they want to close their real estate transaction with you, and I know they do, you are in the offices again, Sugar Land and
Richmond.
The phone number is
832-654-0527.
Kevin Davidson. Thanks, Kevin.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Well, here we are again. Always interesting, the guests that we have on the show and the information we learn and what we bring forth for the listeners out there.
Absolutely. No, it's a great resource for the entire real estate community, whether you're an investor or a realtor, a broker, independent title or attorney agent, or just somebody that likes real estate.
And who doesn't like insurance?
Well, everybody likes
well,
insurance.
We know that.
I mean, that's the highlight of the show.
And the icing on the cake. So today, as we talk insurance, what is that icing flavor that we have?
So a few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about how folks could protect their passwords. And we talked about several different options there. I wanted to kind of broaden that discussion today and look at 10 ways that a small business can increase their cybersecurity and improve their cybersecurity. I'd been doing some research in the area and came across a great list from the Federal Communications Commission. So I wanted to talk about those 10 ways today.
Which way? Do we start with number 10 or number 1?
We'll start with number 1, and train your employees on security principles. So why cybersecurity is critical? What are the issues that are out there? Why is it important that we have processes and procedures in place? And what are the consequences if we don't follow those? So that's the first. The second is protect information, computers, and networks. So they call it keeping your machines clean. But do you have updates on your patches? Do you have updates on the passwords? Do you have updates on the software? So whenever you can update a system, you need to do so you keep those machines clean. The third is provide firewall security for your internet connection. So make sure that you've got a firewall in place. And in fact, if you have folks that work remotely, they suggest that they individually have their own firewalls as well. So if you've got a staff that's working out of working out of their homes, or they're working on the road, they suggest having an individual firewall as well. Create a mobile device action plan. So we're all working remotely, so we're all working off of devices beyond just the desktops in the office. So whether it be a pad, a phone, your laptop, those can all be vulnerable. So just make sure that we either protect key confidential information or minimize access. I have a client that does not allow access to the corporate network from laptops. That you have to be in the office to access it just as a way of protecting.
Well, I have a tip too. Especially if you have two cell phones or one, don't lose your cell phone.
Exactly right.
And as I've had two cell phones, I find this one that doesn't have a case sometimes gets lost, and I panic. I'm like, oh, where's the cell phone?
Absolutely.
You got to keep an eye on all your cell phones, one or many.
Well, and you can even expand that with your cell phones and your laptop. You lose them, they get stolen. If you don't have them encrypted, if you don't have them protected, that could be an easy way for a bad actor to get into your own personal business or the business of the companies. Back up everything. So, store it in the cloud, store it in an off-site
hard drive.
Thank you. Hard drive. But yeah, just take the time to do that so that it's protected. Central physical access to your computers and create user accounts. So each individual, if they come in and have a computer in the office, they ought to have their own passwords and their own accounts so that everything is individualized so you can protect and know where issues might be. If you've got a Wi-Fi network, secure that, protect that so it's not public knowledge. So if somebody is looking to pull up a Wi-Fi, that yours doesn't show up. Establish employee best practices on your banking and on your payment cards. So if you're working with a bank, what are you working with a bank or a payment process that's secure? Are they keeping up to date with what's happening in the marketplace? If you're making payments, do so on a separate machine other than the ones that surf the web. So set up a desktop specifically for business payments and keeping it separate from one that's using surfing the web, so that way you can minimize the chance of a bad actor jumping in. Limit employee access to the data information you have. So we talked about that earlier, that only, not everybody needs to have access to every piece of data. So limit that, and that way you can, again, protect the chance that something happens. And then the last one is, password protection and authentication. So is your password unique? Is your password complex? Are you changing your password every 3 months? Do you have multifaceted authentication? Those kinds of things are all important.
I can never say that.
Well, this is the first time I've gotten it right on the show.
Man.
So
you want to say it again? Just
no, I don't. Thank you. I'm gonna bat 1,000 and retire.
Oh man, I was gonna bring that up just for the fun of it, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, but you're right about the protecting your assets. Is that that if you lose a computer, or if a computer's stolen, if I'm stopping at a
Old
coffee
computers that are laying around, you
Absolutely.
need to wipe them clean.
Absolutely. So you never know what is going to happen if you stop at a coffee shop between appointments and you step up to go see somebody or walk down the hall and you assume that nobody's going to touch your stuff.
Well, you mentioned bad actors, and this is outside of the cyber world, but I'll relay this to you just to say that they are out there just when you think it's safe. My son and his wife were on a vacation at a, quote, nice hotel. While he went back to the room to get something, there were a couple guys in the hallway with some kind of a device that looked like it could disable the door with wires coming out of it, and it looked like he kind of stopped a crime. But those are bad actors, and there's in so many categories. But yeah, they're out there.
Well, just you've got to protect yourself, and you've got to be aware of your surroundings and be aware of your situation.
Situational awareness also super important for the real estate professional and all of us in parking garages, open houses, all those things.
Absolutely. In fact, we have a CE class that talks about limiting your liability, and it's a great class for both realtors and brokers, because we talk about there are risks out there, and what are some of the things you can do to minimize those risks so that the chance of a claim is less likely. And then if there is a claim, what are some of the insurance products you can have that can help offset those risks? So we specifically have a 3-hour CE class that just talks about how can you limit risks.
That sounds like a good one.
It is a good one.
Before we close this segment, John, what else should people know?
Well, we always talk about wanting our clients to be properly insured. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the most robust plan. It could be a very conservative plan. But we want to make sure that our clients understand how they're covered and what they're covered for, and they're comfortable with that at this point in your life. So whether you're a real estate broker, a title and attorney agent, independent title and attorney agent, property management firm, lender, and need business insurance, or you're an individual or family that needs home, auto, wind, flood, motorcycle insurance, we can help you become properly insured.
The phone number is
866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827.
If there are any Aggies out there, a little bit slower, and one more time.
866-798-2827. And as a proud class member of 83, I appreciate that, Bill.
There you go. Thank you so much, John Bramlett.
Always a pleasure.
As we close the show, he's back, Nimesh Patel with RE/MAX Fine Properties, along with Chelsea Sullivan also with RE/MAX Fine Properties. Nimesh, before we close things down here, what else do you want people to know about your company or anything else?
Well, I just tried to wave like I was on the radio.
Well, you're on the YouTube channel, so those that tune in, yes, they will be seeing you, yes.
I'll say this to everybody out there. There are a lot of things about real estate that you want to know and learn, and just go and learn it. Go meet people, listen to this show, talk to your title companies, talk to your lenders, talk to your brokers, whatever it is. Learn. The more we learn, the better it is for the consumer out there.
No doubt about it. Again, Nimesh, let's tell people, should they want to reach out to you, and I know they do, what should they do?
They can call me on my personal cell phone at 832-567-9400, 832-567-9400, or email me at Nimesh, Nimesh, at remaxfine.com.
And the website you have great stuff on the site. I was on there this morning.
Actually, the funny thing is we were talking. I heard one of your other guests talk about social media. Follow me on social media. That's the easiest way. You go to the social media pages, Nimesh Patel Group, RE/MAX Fine Properties on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc. We're all there, and you'll get some good information, funny information, or just make fun of me. One of the two.
And Chelsea, as we close things down, what else do you want people to know?
I would just like to reiterate that RE/MAX Fine Properties, I think we have the best agents out there, and if you're looking to switch or get licensed, we would love to chat.
Quick word, someone's brand new to they just got their license. Mm-hmm. Or, well, let's go back even further. What makes a good real estate professional in your mind?
Oh, I think
couple qualities.
Consistency, professionalism, and customer service. Absolutely.
How about your word on that, Nimesh?
I think she took it, customer service completely, but wanting to learn, always knowing that there's more out there. And I think if you're a brand new agent, don't look at the dollar signs or fees or things like that. Look at mentorship, coaching, guidance. If I could do it all over again, I would have saved myself 5 years by just going to a true mentor and coach versus trying to do it on my own and trying to keep all my money. I would have been in a way better place a lot faster.
But you're in a good place right now. Thank you for being on the show, Nimesh Patel, Chelsea Sullivan. Thank you, Kevin Davidson, for bringing Nimesh and Chelsea on the show. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Larry Warren, Justin Ramirez. We're glad that you tuned in. Don't forget, you could see this show. That's right. Hearing it is one thing, but seeing it is a whole nother thing. Just go to stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio. We will see you next week. Thanks for listening. Until then,
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.